My client posted one story sequence, thousands of DM inbounds came in, one human set to manage them all, and cash collected $110,000 in the very first 24 hours. Now, this isn't about the highlight reel, this is not about the 110k figure. What I'm going to break down in this video is the entire infrastructure that allowed that to happen. I'm just going to put it out there, this worked very well because of my coach being an industry leader in the space. He had already accumulated 800,000 followers, built himself a massive personal brand. So yes, that played a role. That's why this video isn't for those coaches who are new to the info space, that haven't cash collected their first 10k a month yet, that are still trying to figure it out, because you still haven't what I call built the trust proximity. You haven't built the proximity in the industry, you haven't built the footprint yet to actually build the infrastructure that allows you to scale effectively and cash collect and bring in the revenue that is being unconverted. So this video is for those coaches that have broken past the 10k mark. They've made their footprint in the industry. They've got client results. They've got case studies. They've got content coming out. They've got a team. They've got everything in place, but they're so founder dependent. The business is so founder dependent on them. And the second they step away, the business seems to fall back. This is for those coaches that are industry leaders, that made their footprint, and they want to build an infrastructure to scale predictably, effectively, and cash collect more from their existing audience, rather than always having to go out there and get new attention every single month. This is for that coach. Now, if that is you, you're already broken past the 6 to 7 figure mark, and you want an entire breakdown of exactly what I did and how the infrastructure was built out, from the conversion triggers, from the attention gathering methods, from the story sequence, every breakdown of everything, I'm about to break that down for you now. So make sure you stick around, make sure you watch to the end of the video, because if you miss one part of this entire process, then it's not going to work, and it needs the 4-pillar component, which I'm going to break down right now. So stick around. And my name's Isaac. I've been in the info industry for over 7 to 8 years now. Started as a DM setter, my first DM outreach in 2018. Since then, I've diagnosed over 10,000 B2C and B2B conversations, and I understand what works, and I understand if you're running a DM acquisition model right now, this is the video that you need to pay attention to, because if you're driving attention directly to the biggest asset in your business right now, and you're not doing what I'm about to uncover in this video, you're leaking revenue, and that's what I'm about to help you fix. So the coach that I was working with, he was very attention focused. As the founder in the business, a founder is always looking at how can I drive more attention to the business, how can I always get more eyeballs into the business. However, due to that, and naturally due to him being a founder and running every component in the business, he lacks systems and infrastructure. Those systems and infrastructure that you probably run right now. You have systems in place. You're definitely not getting to that stage of 10k plus without having the systems. But it's not one thing about tracking, it's about tracking, optimizing, and refining. Let me bring out the iPad. Let's get into this. Now, from a glance of looking at this operation, you don't really think how can this cash collect 110k, because the system is very simple. The reason this was able to do so was because the infrastructure that was built out was specifically simplified. And when you're dealing with 1,000 inbound leads in such a short time frame, you can't overcomplicate the system. Every acquisition funnel that's being run, especially through the DMs, every DM, and this is the biggest misconception in the industry, in the info space, every coach thinks that they can get away with just having a script. You can have a DM script, and for some reason now you've got your DM script sorted, you've got your DM flow sorted, everything is sorted. There's so much more to the DMs than just a script, and this is why most of the coaches who come to me and they're making money, they're making 10k, 20k, 30k. They lack the conversional breakdowns. Now I'm going to break down for you now. And they lack the pipeline visibility in their business to actually cash collect and actually extract the most revenue they can from their business. Because as a founder, they're so, and this is exactly what I found my client doing it. As a founder, they're so focused on every other area of their business that naturally they can't focus on one asset. They can't focus on, unfortunately, the biggest asset in their business, that is the conversion process of the DMs. Now, this was my client. He had a massive following. As I said, this isn't going to work for clients who don't have a presence. This only works for clients if you've got some presence, you've got case studies, you've got testimonials, you've got something to show people that, I am good at what I do, and people have actually invested into your personal brand, and you spend some time building your personal brand. Ultimately, what sells is your personal brand, because everybody sells the same product, just, it's just packaged in a different way. The product is the same, it's packaged differently, and the person who you buy from is ultimately what you invest in. A personal brand, people buy from people they like. It's a sales tactic that I learned from studying Grant Cardone for multiple years. So going back to this, my client Cash, a massive follower, 830k followers, 103k in 24 hours. So how was he able to cash collect 110k in 24 hours from a simple story sequence? Before we get into the actual story sequence itself, I want you to realize that What we did, now picture this is New Year's. New Year's, everybody in the B2C space particularly, they push on the scarcity element of New Year's is coming, you want to be fixing what you didn't fix this year, you want to be, becoming a better version of yourself, becoming a better man, becoming a better provider, becoming, whatever, maybe whatever the product that they're selling, they're gonna say you need this because XYZ reasons, pulling on that New Year's scarcity. So what me and my client did, or what my client did to gather the attention and really make sure that people came to him and his business, he invested $10,000 into a promotion with a massive public figure. So this is a public figure in the UK. He's a rapper, he makes music. And what this allowed my client to do was instantly have persuasion. Instantly have persuasive abilities over the marketplace because he had been affiliated with a big, public figure. Having that affiliation, what it does is it was allowed my client to skip past so much of the top of funnel stages, so much of the trust building stages, so much of the personal brand building stage, so much of the stage where somebody first hears about you, and it takes, that, like they say, it takes time for somebody to get invested into you. Because of the affiliation, that process was fastened. But this isn't what made the play work, because my client could have spent the same 10K into this promo, and without the funnel that was built out, without the mechanisms in the back end to make sure visibility of the pipeline was there, and the DMs could get flooded with inbound leads and actually convert through the process of a DM setup, was very different. So just to give you an overview, my client did a massive promotion to bring in people into his audience. This was the persuasion ability and the authority building mechanism, because when you pair two and two together, you've aligned yourself with the coach, or you've aligned yourself with the celebrity figure. So my client aligned himself with a celebrity figure. Within the short span of a day or two, 15,000 likes. 15,000 likes and hundreds of thousands of eyeballs on his business within 24 hours. Now moving on from there, how did this play actually work? So the story sequence breakdown had 5 layers to it. These 5 layers were particularly laid out in a very specific manner, because had it not been for this sequence, then the leads would never have, the leads who landed on the account wouldn't have filtered through to the conversion mechanism, which was the WhatsApp messages, and we wouldn't have been able to bring in so many inbound leads, an influx of thousands of DMs, an influx of so many inbound people who were interested. So this story sequence, it was very clear. It's New Year's. People want to, make the decision and want to make that change. But ultimately, people don't make changes because they want to. People, no one wants to make a change because they're told to make a change. Everybody makes changes on their own accord. So going into a pattern interrupt, we wanted to make leads interested. The first post had to have a pattern interrupt so that leads were invested into the story sequence. This was done through a massive calling out to the ICP, calling them out and making them feel the agitation. The pain allowed them to continue on the story sequence through a pattern interrupt, and from there we had authoritative relatability. So what this really means is positioning the ICP, positioning the coach in a way that relates to the ICP. Now, the way my coach was able to do this, and I was able to help my client do this, was through his personal brand journey. In the B2B space, it's a little different. In the B2C space, sharing your journey is what ultimately connects with your audience. So we needed to connect with our audience through authoritative relatability, because if we didn't, because of the lifestyle that my client had, Lamborghinis, first class flights, 5-star hotels, they would have never been able to connect with the coach because they see that as too far. They see that as 10 steps ahead, 20 steps ahead. It's too far down the tunnel. We had to take them back. We had to bring them to, we had to bring ourselves to where they were in the tunnel, which was side by side. So we did this through an authoritative relatability post, which shared my client's journey from where they were to where they are now, and ultimately showing other people in the same position as the ICP and showing how they were winning, how they were making money, how, the mechanism that my client was, the money making techniques, the offer that he was running was helping other people in the same position make money and win. From there, a call to action, which was directly to the WhatsApp conversations with limited time. A call out with limited time, which sent them to one clear destination, which was the WhatsApp conversations. It was clear cut that, look, if you're interested, here's where you need to go. Here's the WhatsApp conversations. Here's my number. And what I gave is a personalized feel that this coach is going to be communicating with me. This guy who is just met up with this public rapper, and this guy who is making millions is going to be communicating with me. So having them go into the WhatsApp conversations felt personalized, felt like they're having a conversation with the coach. And lastly, scarcity. Pulling on the New Year scarcity, it really did help. It really pushed leads and made them go through the funnel, go through the layers to where we were able to get them where we needed to get them. So the conversational breakdown, you can probably look at this and think this is very basic. This is very much simple. It's what's been done here is automated entry message. You ask for permission to ask questions. You ask questions and then you send them a relevant case study and you send them the VSO link. It's quite simple, right? That's the whole point. That's literally the whole point. This had to be manufactured in a way where it's so simple where one human setter could literally deal with 1,000 inbound leads. So the way this was done was leads would come in, they would message and they would say, hey, using a word that I think it was New Year's, whatever the word was, it would send that message. As soon as that was done, an automated message would kick in and say, hey, appreciate you reaching out, blah blah blah. This is the offer that we're running. We have limited time spaces. Giving them a debrief on the offer, inform them of what this conversation is about. If we didn't do that, conversations can drift. We don't want conversations to drift. And a technique I learned from Jordan Belfort in the rapport building stage, there's kind of like layers between here and here. If you go too far outside of the box, you lose a conversation. Rapport building isn't just having a conversation about what weather it is, what's the weather like, what's your favorite football team. No, building rapport is so different. Building rapport is so much more complex. Kept it within the limits, kept it within the boundaries of that rapport of Jordan Belfort, whatever Jordan Belfort done. This is something I learned back in 2018 when I actually got into the info space and I invested my first $600 to $800 into a sales course from Jordan Belfort, my first ever investment. Side note, let me not digress. So back to it, we had an ultimate message that kept the conversation within the flow. It basically said, listen, this is what the conversation is about. It's going to be a New Year's offer. This is what we help people with. This is my client who's done XYZ. Would you like to know more? And what's made you interested? Cool. When we find out what's made him interested, we ask permission to ask questions. And if the conversation, died out from that, that's cool. We disqualify. If the conversation continued, what we would do is we would qualify. And then not only will we qualify, the lead will be sent to a qualification question tag. This was very important. Now, I don't want you to miss out on these little tags on the side because this is ultimately what helped have the transparency. And when you're building, having a setter dialed in is super crucial. Having a setter dialed in and actually being able to visibly see the pipeline is just as crucial. It's probably even more crucial. Having a setter see their pipeline is so important because it gives them the ability, and when you have the correct SOPs and the setter knows exactly what to do and what to prioritize, because you as a founder understand what to prioritize. Ultimately, let's say a conversation there, you're not going to go into a conversation and message the disqualification. This is simple to say. For me and you, it is simple, but it might not be simple for the setter. You're not going to message and waste your time messaging people who are disqualified, but a setter might do that. That's wasted time on your part. That's wasted time in your business. That's your setter wasting wasted working hours. So they need to be clear that, look, you only want to be focusing on qualified leads. So we direct the conversation to qualified leads. The setter was very clear, abundantly clear on this. From there, we had 3 specific ICP questions. Now, these specific ICP questions, because of the influx of leads and the time limit, with it being just around the corner from New Year's, I think it was New Year's Day, they had to be hit in one go. And this is very uncommon in the industry, but when you deal with influx of leads, this is how it needs to be done, to deal with the influx of flow, because you can't have back-to-back conversations. There's just too much to do. We built out an ICP messaging question, 3 layers, 3 specific ICP related questions. The first one was an emotional trigger. The second one was painting the perfect picture, and the third one was, are you willing to invest? The emotional trigger was simple. It was, what got you interested? Why do you want to do this? So we understand why they want to do this. What is your reason for this? The second one is painting the perfect picture. Where do they see themselves? What is the ideal location they want to be? So we've understood why they want to do this. They said, look, I want to do this because I want to make more money. I want to hit my first 5K month. Okay, now when you hit that first 5K month, what is the, ultimately, what is the picture that you will paint? How does your life look? Get them to feel that emotion. Get them to get emotionally involved in this decision. Getting them emotionally involved of that feeling of when I do actually get to where I want to get to, how it's going to feel. Getting them to write that down. And lastly, are they willing to invest? So having them understand why they want to do this, having them paint that perfect picture to get emotionally triggered, emotionally involved, and then willing to invest question to make sure if you're qualified or not, if they actually have the money to invest. And then from there, we would send a relevant case study. So we're all amazing. We was able to help this person achieve the same result. Is that something that you would like to do too? From there, we would send a VSL link, and we just shorten the sales process massively. And the reason that we haven't actually gone too much into case studies at this stage, or we haven't asked too many questions and tried to bridge the gap as much, is simply because not just the influx, but you want the VSL to do the heavy lifting. If the DMs is so flooded, you can't be simply having the deepest of conversations, especially when there's a time limit, especially when there's scarcity, because then that makes the scarcity feel fake. You can't make the scarcity feel fake. You have to make the scarcity on every single layer of the funnel, right? You can't say at the top of the funnel, cool, there's 24 hours, but you're taking 24 hours to reply, and by the time they get to the bottom, it's been 3 days. Then that's just fake scarcity. The scarcity has to be real and it has to be genuine. So at the stage of the VSL being sent, it was simple. Hey, here's a VSL, go through this, go here, you can watch this video, get back to me if you have any questions. Reply back to his message saying I'm in, I'm out, or if you got any more questions, okay, question mark. So you keep an open-ended loop. You send a message with the VSL link with a question, so it keeps the conversation in frame. Because the one who asks questions is the one who's in control of the conversation. I learned that also from Jordan Belfort. Then they had a sent VSL tag. So now the setter has complete pipeline visibility at this stage. They know those leads that are at the qualification question stage, so they can prioritize that. When they get back into DMs, they prioritize, let me head to the tab that has qualified questions so I can communicate with the leads that are already in some sort of conversation with me. Let me see if they've sent me back their messages, and then let me take them across and send them to the VSL. So now we can add them to the VSL tag so that the warmest leads are always hit first. This is super important. Then we had a 12-step VSL breakdown. Now this breakdown went like this. This is how I hope my client. The funnel was simple. It was a landing page. You insert your details. You go over to the VSL. This is how you can make an extra 100k in a year. The VSL was completely laid out. Like the VSL and the actual funnel itself was so optimized, so tweaked. Every single line, every single sentence hit a pain point. It hit a trigger. It showed the benefits. But specifically the VSL, what I want to talk about, because the VSL is what actually did the most of the lifting. And it was around a 20-minute VSL, 20 to 25 minutes, with an introduction. Introducing who the coach is. And this is why the DMs don't need to do so much introduction work, because when you've used persuasive authority building and you've used a persuasive attention, the persuasion is done directly through the attention that's been brought in. So the attention was already there and it was nurtured. Now what we need to do is we need to provide an introduction of who they are, who my client is, what they do, make a pledge and promise. Make sure that you make a pledge and a promise so that leads actually watch to the end and they feel incentivized to continue watching. This pledge and promise was so important because it kept retention of the viewer. It increased the higher the retention video time, the retention watch time, so viewers were invested from the first 30 seconds. From the very first 30 seconds, there was a pledge made and a promise. This is a promise you're going to get in the video. By the end of this video, you're going to have clarity on what needs to be done. You're going to see the benefits of this program. You're going to see how this program can help you, how it's going to help you hit that 5 to 10k mark, help you build an online business this year, that type of stuff. So making a pledge and promise, pledging their time. Why should they actually continue watching? It's good enough getting someone in a VSL, but if you don't get them on a VSL and you have the breakdown and the steps to actually keep retention, then the VSL doesn't do the heavy lifting. The retention process only works so well, and it does what the heavy lifting does. It keeps the VSL in place and it allows the VSL to do the heavy lifting. From there, establish credibility, which was not hard because my client was a B2B, B2C industry leader. State the problem. What's the real problem? The problem is that my clients, ICP, don't know how to make money online. They've tried multiple offers, they failed. State the problem. Not only do we state the problem, we twist and stab the knife. This is peeling back the onion layers. Okay, cool. So you can't make money online. You've tried different options. What's the actual problem? What's so bad about that? Every time that you build a VSL, use a strategy. Twist and grab the knife. I'm hoping this is making sense. Twist and grab the knife. So you state your problem. What's the problem that ICP really feels? Then you say, what's so bad about that? You consciously say, what's so bad about that? You on the video even can say, what's so bad about that? Then you break down, what's so bad about it? Okay, what's so bad about that? Then you break down, what's so bad about that? So you continue stabbing the knife and you continue going beyond the surface level, because most VSLs, they only stay surface level. For you to amplify the pain in the moment and get somebody to take action, you have to amplify the pain there and then. So we twist and stab the knife. From there, we introduce a solution. Once the knife is so twisted into that, chest, we introduce a solution. What is a solution? And we make sure that the solution ties into everything that we've built the problems on. So every problem, every deliverable that my solution or the client solution provides has to be in relation to every single solution that's been listed, otherwise it doesn't make any sense. From there, reinforcing the benefits. What benefits do they get? Just the same way we've stabbed the knife, we have to reinforce the benefits, relate every single benefit to the New Year resolution. What is the resolution of my ICP? Where do they want to get to? That relatability is what connects the dots. And you need to speak to your VSL as if as if you're speaking to somebody. You can't. The VSL only works if you have the end user in mind, because ultimately no one cares about you that much. No one cares about your offer that much. Nobody cares about anything as much as what it can do for them. That's ultimately the biggest thing that you need to do when building out any VSL, any conversion mechanism. What does it get the person? What does it get the person watching this? What does it get the viewer? So every time you make a piece of content, what does it get the viewer? How can we relate it back? What does this do for them? Me sharing a journey about me being broke. Me, my client sharing a journey about him being broke. My client sharing a journey of how he made his first 5K and how he felt and how he was able to retire more than live a life of freedom, travel the world. What does that do? What does that mean for the ICP? Because otherwise you're just storytelling. Nobody cares about the story. No one cares about your story that much. Relate it back. What does that mean for the ICP? Super valuable lesson. From there we build the value. Building the value, we make an offer, and we add time-sensitive bonuses. So these bonuses are only limited time within these 24 hours. And we made the offer. We've already established everything up until this point. We've built the bonuses. We've built the trust. We've built out this offer. And when we actually drop the price point, we make it so much of a no-brainer. Even the way you speak, even the delivery, even the way you deliver your VSL. Okay, it needs to sound just like, this just makes sense. And you don't have to deliver with force. You have to say, okay, it's this much, and this is what you're going to get, and this is what you're going to get. Oh, and it's this much price. No, cool. You've delivered your bonuses. You've delivered everything that your product provides. Now, the reason this VSL was so effective was, okay, this is the cost of it, and it just makes sense. This is the cost. This is what you're going to get. This is the time-sensitive bonuses. You don't have to forcefully deliver. You deliver with conversion. You deliver with conviction, yes. But that conviction doesn't have to be shouting. That conviction doesn't have to be, you jumping up and down. I see this in so many VSLs. I see this in so many short form, long form, assets. There's too much hype. When you come to the end, come with a sense of aura. Close it off nicely. Make it such a no-brainer, but not through the display, not through the visuals, but through your voice. It just makes sense. So right now you're at the stage of, do you make this decision or not? I've listed out everything for you. I've listed out how I can help you make your first 10K a month. I've listed out why this works, and who is helped, and the people that is generated millions for, the people that is changed lives for. This is the price. It costs 2K. It's 2K up front, and it's 10% revenue share, whatever your offer is. Deliver it with conviction, but through a sense of aura. And lastly, and once again, that's a technique I learned from Jordan Belfort. It's a super powerful technique. Jordan Belfort taught me this as well. It's the sounding fair enough. Like, does that sound fair enough? Even you hear in my delivery, it goes to the subconscious mind. Okay, this is a closing tactic that is so powerful that if you take this right now, you're going to increase your closing rate instantly. And it's called, right at the end of your close, you use three delivery methods in your voice, because your voice, how they hear it, goes directly to the subconscious mind. It doesn't register on the conscious, it goes subconsciously. So you have the first one, conviction. The second one, calmness. And the third one, sound fair enough. So, for example, this is going to be the best offer, and this is the best decision and this is how I help my client do it. This is the end of the VSL. This is by far the best decision that you're going to make this year. And if you don't take action, is this going to be another year that's just gone by? So let's take action and let's make that decision today. Does that sound fair enough? Subconscious mind, take that. And trust me, you'll close more. So yeah, the offer was made. We made the offer. And then people, this is something that was very unique to this offer. And this is why I call it the 12 step reverse VSL, is because there was no link to buy. So at this stage when, we've done everything, just like I've just shared with you, how I've communicated that with you. We've done everything to get the lead wanting to invest. There's no link to buy. There's no actual way that they can buy. There's no way they can purchase. So what happens now? And as you remember, when we went to the send VSL link stage, what did the message say? He said, here's the link. Watch this and hit me back with a reply saying I'm in, I'm out, or got any questions. Okay? Questionable. So we've left the conversation open looped. So now leads can come back and say, I'm in. Simple. They know what to message. They've been told, message me, I'm in. That means you're in. And that's the game changer, because now leads came to us. And this is why my client was able to do such, bring so much leads in from the inbounds, was because when the link was sent, there was an instant onboarding process. The link was sent, oh amazing, you want to get started? Cool, here's the process to do so. Still scarcity in the message. At the end of the message said, look, there's still limited spaces, this offer ends at midnight, you don't want to lose these bonuses, the bonuses will be gone too, blah blah blah. Stay in the message. In the closing message, you still have to have these conversion, these scarcity layers, because scarcity is not a constant. Scarcity is a feeling, because if you don't consistently share the scarcity through the funnel, people forget the scarcity and they think they can hold it off. And this is natural. This is just sales psychology. Humans want to hold things off until they can't any longer. For example, like me, I'm the worst person when it comes to my car. I will only go to the petrol station when I literally have nothing left in the tank and I have to go. I have to get my ass to the petrol station. I have to fill that car up. People only want to do things at the very end when they have to. So keep that scarcity through the entire funnel, so that lead know that they have to do this now. And then, because the tags were so crucial, we had a follow-up tag. So leads, we knew when the VSL was sent. Then we had a follow-up tag, and then we had a new client tag. So those people who were new clients, they were taken to an onboarding process. And our follow-up sequence was also simple. Did you watch the video? Blasted out to all the 100 leads that the VSL was sent to. Follow-up sequence. Did you watch the video? Watch the video inquiry. We had a scarcity reminder 1, scarcity reminder 2, and then we disqualified if we had never heard anything back. And this is pretty much the funnel. It's not very complex as you would think, but the layers are so crucial because the infrastructure played a massive role. And lastly, this is the fulfillment breakdown, a Zapier integration to make sure they get access straight away, Kajabi access, and an onboarding SOP. And this all played into the quick win protocol, because you don't want clients to get buyer's remorse, especially in the B2C industry. When somebody invests money, especially at a high ticket price point, they naturally will get buyer's remorse. They start to think 100 things. They think, is this the best decision? So you have to get them a quick win. I call it the quick win protocol. You have to get them a quick win quick, otherwise they will get buyer's remorse and you will end up with high dispute rates and high chargebacks. Now this is the funnel. This is the biggest scheme I want to share. This was not an Instagram story win. It was a result of a lean conversion model engineered to monetize inbound attention through DM systems, setters, VSL structure, follow-up sequences, and a backhand fulfillment that just worked. So now if you've got to the end of this video and you're already a 6-figure, 7-figure entrepreneur, you've understood that it's not always about attention. It's about how that attention is captured and how that attention is trickled through the funnel, because you're already a coach that's making money, you're tracking. This is the biggest thing I need you to realize, that right now, just like my coach is a massive industry leader. He's running his business. He's tracking what he can track, but there's only so much you can track. There's so much that you have visibility over in your pipeline. And when you're spending money acquiring the traffic, it's only right that you put the same attention to looking at where that traffic is going, increasing on your pipeline visibility. So the biggest lesson I want you to take away from this entire breakdown isn't the story sequence breakdown. It isn't even the 12-step VSL. It isn't even the post VSL follow-up sequence. It's a conversion breakdown. Because not every script is the same. Not every ICP is the same. Not every conversation can be the way you want it to be. A script isn't going to fix it. There's so much deeper things you have to do. And the reason that this was worked, because I had already collected the data from the ICP, understood their triggers, understood what's the perfect picture for them, understood the price point if they're willing to invest. And I understood this because we had already tested this. There's one thing tracking your data, and the biggest thing between you where you are now to where you want to scale to is not just tracking but optimizing and refining. And as a founder that's running a business, it becomes difficult to do so, and that's where you hire somebody like me. I come in, I look at the infrastructure, and I see where's the biggest leakage point. I identify that biggest leakage point, and I fix that. So what you just watched at isn't just a lucky launch. It's manufactured attention into conversion. It's what happens when you stop hoping that the DMs work and you actually make sure that conversion is optimum to make collection of cash, collection from the leads, the attention that you have, maximize that to the degree that you're happy with. So if you're a coach right now that is bringing in conversations, you have conversations dialed in, you're getting conversations a month, maybe you're running, paid ads, maybe you're running organic, maybe you're just running some cold outreach and you're having conversations come in, whether that's inbound, outbound, and you want to dial in to a degree that makes you understand as a founder what's really happening behind the scenes, that allows you to then build out the content, build out the assets that help you nurture that middle of funnel nurturing, the bottom of funnel nurturing, and build out the conversion infrastructure that optimizes every level, because right now you're running blind. The longer you run blind, the more money you're leaving on the table. You wouldn't begin to realize how much money you're leaving on the table right now if you don't optimize your book show and close rate. Just a 5% increase, that's not a dramatic increase, just a 5% increase on every single one of those metrics can add an extra 150 to 200k per year to your business. I know it sounds shocking, I know you probably don't believe me, but here's what to do if you don't believe me. Link is in the description below. Book a one-to-one revenue audit call with me, and on this audit call we'll diagnose the last 60 to 90 conversations that you've had, see what's actually happening, diagnose the biggest leak points, because there's 7 stages where leakage happens in a conversation, and I'll make a separate video on that. Understand where the biggest leakage, so you as a founder have clarity on what to fix, and actually show you through the revenue you're calculating how much money you're missing out on when you optimize every single layer. Just a 5% increase in those metrics, and as well as giving you the ability to track advanced metrics. The revenue metrics such as revenue per 100 conversations is such an important metric that most business owners don't even think about. Yes, you're making money, you're tracking, but you're not optimizing, you're not refining, because there's so many different areas and components to your business that you run, and I understand that. So what we'll do in this revenue audit call is go back and look at your last 60 to 90 conversations, find the biggest leak in these conversations, and then help you see how much money you're leaving on the table, actually visualize that, and give you the one biggest bottleneck that if you solve right now, it'll help you push you and scale you towards the number that you want to be making. Not through attention, but through yield. And not only is that, the best benefit, and this is what I need you to realize, the best benefit of scaling through yield means that the better you scale through yield, or the better that you get at yield monetization and optimization, ultimately means when you actually do add more attention to your business, you do scale through more eyeballs, you have the ability to scale comfortably. You're not scaling with chaos, because doubling down on what you're doing right now and doubling the eyeballs means you're just scaling a already chaotic business, and you don't want that, because that means that you're relying on the business and everything is channeled through you. The second you are able to detach and build through system and structure, just like my client, are very much an attention driven coach. What we build and what we do at Save the DMs, and what I can help and what I do is and come in as a conversion infrastructure specialist, is build the infrastructure that allows you to scale while also being detached from the business, having that founder independency and buying back 10, 20, 30 hours per week. So we'll run the revenue audit call, book your call below, and I'll share everything I've just displayed with you on there, and how you can actually find the biggest leak in your business right now and how to fix it within the next 20 minutes. Link is in the description below. I hope you found value in this video. I hope you kind of really understood what I shared and what I documented and the entire process that we went through. And if you did find value, make sure that you do like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to message me on Instagram. DM me, my is Isaac Hassan Hussein, ISAAC. I almost forgot to say my name. Isaac Hassan Hussein, ISAAC, Hassan HASSAIN. Well, I'll have the link below. So if you do have any questions, just feel free to message me. Let's go.